almost as if you would see on an automatic timepiece. Very, very cool. Again, it's a 45mm case. You've got a black Croco embossed genuine leather strap, $120, but again, I always say go with the payments. $24 down, it ships. It's number 6, 287-721.
Right behind that, the Swiss Legend. And now this is the 48mm of the Blue Geneve. This is one of the largest configurations. The ISIS 8371 movement is it's an incredible movement. That's ISA, just in case. Just do not, we will not go there. Just keep moving, ladies and gentlemen. Just like last week when I mispronounced Croco embossed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been fined by the FCC on that one.
Things get dicey every now and then.
Do you have a speech impediment? I do. We'll talk about that later. This is an incredible variation of this watch. Multiple colors on this, and when you see each one has its own look and feel, only $194 for this brand new design. And let me tell you, it looks and feels even more expensive than its $400 price point. There's just something about this watch. Only $39 gets it home. 287-824 for this Swiss Legend.
Coming in at number 4, another one in the 48mm full size from the Blue Geneve collection. Remember, we do have 4 different sizes of this timepiece to choose from, but the 48mm is the chrono that features the ISA 8371. As Wiley said, it is the biggest. It is Swiss made. You've got a ceramic bezel insert, and I love this rich, saturated royal blue. It's a great piece. Imagine wearing this with blue jeans. $195 or $39 if you're using the payments. I would. 287-829. That's number 4. Number 3 comes to us from Gucci. We just aired this watch. 243-689. Good on you guys for purchasing this. This is a true unisex timepiece. This is so awesome. It fits so comfortably. You've got that super comfortable nylon strap. All black and white, 316L stainless steel, sapphire crystal. It's a Gucci watch for more than half off, so I am all about that. It's a $1,200 watch. We've got it for $500, but you can use a stress-free payment. So put $100 down on any major credit card, and we will ship this watch to you for free. 243-689. This is number 3. On our website, not only can you see all brand new items, as this Gucci watch will be one of them, but we do have a special section on our website dedicated to pre-owned luxury timepieces, almost an estate section, if you will. You can see lots of high-end Swiss-made brands there as well. Again, 243-689, $500 or your first payment of $100 for number 3, the 45mm G Timeless XL. Look what number 2 is.
A very good choice by anybody who can pick this up. Now, we only have limited quantities. So if perchance this is a watch you can pick up, this 43mm Transocean automatic is an incredible timepiece. 450 parts on the inside. Realize there's a complete calendar built into this watch. It's adjusted once every leap year. There is 43mm case, 42 hours of power reserve, and the B19 movement, which is a 38 joule automatic, is incredible. Sapphire crystal, that beautiful woven mesh stainless steel bracelet, and of course the Breitling name. You're getting a $10,000, let me say it again, a $10,000 watch for almost half price, $5779.99. $963 is all that it takes. I say all, I realize that's a lot of money, but in comparison to 10 grand, not so much. $963 is your first of 6 stress-free, interest-free payments to get a pinnacle piece, home on the wrist, absolutely gorgeous watch, and one of my favorite ones in the Breitling collection. What are the chances that one of the executives will give this to me for Christmas?
Slim.
That's correct, which is why we have stress-free payments. Because I want that watch.
I love this watch. I love it in the full size too. But it looks like the best-selling item was my hot pick. Congratulations. What? I wish I could take credit for this, but you know what? It is such a no-brainer because this timepiece is just so gorgeous. Now, I went with the second smallest size. There's a 38 and then a 42. The 42 is the one that I went with for my hot pick. The 38 is beautiful as well, but I like things just a little bit bigger. It could be considered a unisex timepiece for those of you out there, gentlemen, if you don't want to wear anything larger than a 42 millimeter. And we do have many different color variations, so if this one seems maybe too girly for you, we do have others that are a bit more pared down. The outer edge of that dial is A-grade mother of pearl, and it matches up beautifully with the white ceramic bezel insert on this 200-meter diver. The bezel and case are all done in a geometric called dodecagon shape. You can see all of those edges of the bezel are outfitted in rose tone to match the rose tone screw-down crown and center links of the bracelet. The bracelet links in the center portion where it's rose are brushed, and then your H links are mirror polished silver tone. Push button, dual deployant clasp, opens up to a screwed in case back, responsible for giving you 200 meters of water resistance to protect the ISA 2331 quartz movement. Sapphitech crystal with a 10-year warranty against scratching. Genuine Swiss Super Luminova on all of the applied hour markers and hands, and a beautiful full size, yet a size that fits on the wrist. Look at that. No gapping and no spacing. Bracelet length can accommodate just under a 9-inch wrist at its maximum. So ladies, whether you've got a 6-inch wrist like I do or a bit larger, you can try the Blue Geneve. 287-844. Again, there are 4 variations of this watch. We saw a couple of the 48 millimeter full size in our countdown just now. But here, I think the most beautiful is this one. $36 gets it home. 287-844, $180 for your Swiss-made #1 seller.
Maurice Lacroix has just done an outstanding job. Now, if you go back in history to 1889 when they started building watches, you realize that they have had quite a footprint left in the watch world. In 1975, when they started reinvigorating the brand, well, that was at a very tough time to start doing that because that's when the quartz watch movement started. But the folks at the helm decided that these classic timepieces, in just like this configuration with this 21 jewel automatic, they really needed to carry that torch forward. Now, this is an all Swiss made watch. It's a 40 millimeter case, which I think is just the right size. The case is in a great high mirror polish, and you have this incredible design that is on the dial. And as they draw in even closer, I want you to take a peek at this 3-hand configuration to realize that you have the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand, and then a complete secondary time zone as a small sub-dial at the 6 o'clock position. You have a dual date wheel, reverse date wheel, large date complication at the 12 o'clock position. The watch, to me, is perfect in its size. Notice how those lugs drop straight down. When that sits on my wrist in just a moment, you're going to see why they've brought them down. Now, if you have a very large wrist, don't worry, it's still going to fit. You have this great push button, dual push button, single scissor deployant. Now, I may have a smaller wrist, but I have a larger hand. So being able to open the watch up with such great space there is going to make it easy to slip off and on. I want to show you let me show you the back first, for heaven's sakes. You got to see that beautiful 21 jewel movement. And there it is. You can see the Côte de Genève, or the Geneva waves that are engraved onto the rotor. You can see the pearlage decoration on the housing that's right behind it, and you can even see some knurling, almost swirls in the back that are a part of the very, very back of the watch. There's the beating heart right there. And even though this watch is, part of the Pontos collection and should be selling in that $4,000 price point, you're able to get it for under $1,500. Let me slip the watch on the wrist. You can tell me what you think. I think this is a classic configuration for Maurice Lacroix and is easily worth this price point. It's a perfect fit. Of course you knew it would be. Now, with the additional links that are in the center part of the bracelet, they're in high mirror polish. There is somewhat of a polished satin finish that's also on the bracelet, and I think that contrast really makes it pop. And notice how the solid end links meet right up to the case. No gapping, no spacing. And I love the fact that they've used the reverse date wheels, because look how easy that pops right off of the dial. Now, I like this configuration quite a bit. Would your boyfriend wear this watch?
Absolutely. I've been looking at Maurice Lacroix watches and Raymond Weil watches to get him. And this is one that is a great option because, especially because he has to dress up, he works in finance. This is something that he could wear every day. But you know, it's also because it's all silver tone on a bracelet, you get that little bit of, I think, flexibility where you could not necessarily dress it down, but it does have a little bit of sport luxury to it.
Anytime you have an additional sub-dial that's stepping out of a classic configuration, it does add a sportiness to the watch. The fact that you have a dual time gives a sense of travel to the watch, as if you are literally jumping time zones, whether across the country or across the world. Maybe you have somebody, maybe you have a young person that's off in college, or you have a friend on the other side of the globe like Megan does. Having this on the wrist, I mean, yes, I realize that our, high-end, even the cheap cell phones, will give you multiple times, but you have to push buttons to get there.
Yep.
You can look at your time, but to get the secondary time zone, you need an app or you need to have it programmed in. It's nice to be able to just look down and go, this is a good time to give her a call. This is a good time. Have you ever called somebody on the other side of the world that was like, why are you calling me this hour?
Absolutely.
And this is a great way, just at a glance, to know where they are. And, just a great time to call and check in. And this is one of those watches that you're not going to have to pay the full price. Do you ever think about folks that maybe have walked into a jewelry store and saw the watch, loved it, and then walked out because a $400, $500 price point just sent them right out the door?
Of course, I was probably one of those people.
But you and I both have walked out going, that's just too much. Here, not even at dealer cost. This is in the basement, $1,489. 21 jewel automatic. And of course, it's a Maurice Lacroix movement within the watch. It's all Swiss made, sapphire crystal, dual time zone, only $248.33. To get it home, we're going to put it on the very max 6 stress-free interest-free payments. 877-969-8818 to get this beautiful Pontos collection Maurice Lacroix home to you. Now, you just said this name.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Do we have this watch in studio? Because even if it's just a mention, we had just popping up there just for a moment. We're looking at our preview monitor, and we got all excited because we saw Raymond Weil. We happen to like Raymond Weil quite a bit. And even if it's just a mention, we have to just let you know this is a great classic configuration of the Raymond Weil three-hand. Isn't this beautiful?
This is gorgeous. I love the color of the dial. It almost has a bronze sunray look to it.
Now, this again, you were just saying, is this one of the ones you'd consider for your boyfriend?
I actually think based on the size, I believe this is a 36 millimeter.
Let's take a peek real quick because we can measure it out. That's one of the things you certainly want to have from us is accuracy on that. And, this is...
Oh, it's a 39 millimeter, excuse me.
It doesn't look that big. It doesn't look like a 30.
It's got a slimmer look to it overall. We were talking about this a few moments ago when I was talking about the Maurice Lacroix watches being affordable luxury. The Raymond Weil watch has incredible savings on our website. We have an entire section. Of course, you can always shop by brand. And what I love is really being able to now start affording some of these Swiss-made watches, because I am the person like you that would see one of these watches, even this, the $2,600 price in stores, and think, okay, well, I guess,
the Raymond Weil.
I
was going to say the Raymond Weil 4200 series movement is a 26 jewel automatic. So that, again, is going to be just a workhorse within that watch, but it's also beautiful to see. So as we come into the live shot, I want you to just see how this wears, how it looks on the hand, on the wrist, and even take a peek at the back of the watch so that you can see that you have as much enjoyment just handling the watch as you will be wearing it. I love the strap on here. It is a very durable leather, and the fact that there is a dual push button deployant is just going to make it, because you'll notice right there, dual push button, of course the custom Raymond Weil logo on there. Leather can wear out if it's rubbing against something over time. The fact that you have that deployant that has the ability to do the work, all the metal parts doing the work, and snapping so easily into place, that's where the stress is going to be on the metal, not on the leather. Take a look. I love the texturing that leads to that very smooth outer chapter ring. And you notice all the way down to almost a tachymeter style outer chapter ring. It's not. I mean, it's just the seconds. But you've got this great classic look from the Roman numerals, but then you have all the way down to the seconds running through there too. It's very subtle. You know, they didn't want to, I think, make it too sporty, but it's just a nice way to see those details. And of course, as you're taking a peek within the watch, you can see that this is a screw-down crown, and as we lock that into place, you can see the three-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand. You have a date complication with a Cyclops lens right there at the 3 o'clock position. Now, I'm going to pop this open, let you see the back of the watch, and you can see that 26 jewel automatic. Isn't that beautiful?
What Raymond Weil does was similar to what Maurice Lacroix used to do before they started making their own in-house movements, is they actually purchase movements from Unitas or ETA. In this case, this is a Solita automatic movement inside. And what they do is then they modify them. I'll try that on if that's okay.
Please.
They then modify them in-house to their exact specifications. They adjust them to their own positions. And what that enables them to do is to call it their own movement. So it's a special way to be able to have something that they're able to purchase and then they improve upon themselves. So it really, by the time, it's almost like getting a car and completely customizing it. You know, or you buy a home and maybe you renovate the inside of it. You know, it's still maybe the same structure, same, you know, brick and mortar on the outside, but on the inside, it's entirely new. And that's similar to what brands like Raymond Weil do when they purchase movements from others. Look at how slim that 39 millimeter case is. It's so easy to wear. I tried it on first because I'm actually wearing a 39 millimeter on my other wrist, so I think it's a great size. Easy to wear. I know it's got a classic men's dress watch. Look at that. Can you see that blue?
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's anti-reflective coating over that sapphire crystal. Of course, you do have sapphire crystals front and back. Most of the time we think about dress watches being in all black and silver. So to see this one with that rich, almost bronze sunray dial and then that brown Croco embossed leather, it's quite nice to be able to see something in luxury in more of an unexpected color. 287100. This is an automatic for $830. The total price is $2650. 6 payments though. That is our maximum 6 stress-free, interest-free payments, allowing you 6 months at $138 a month to afford a $2,700 Swiss-made watch. Now this next watch, many of you are familiar with this. Tony Kanaan Special Edition Luminox timepiece, right here.
This is one of the watches that I think stands out in the Luminox collection because we're very used to the black on black, the very stealthy watches, the very military inspired. Here, going from the racing world, it takes on a different look, and I can't say I don't want to say it's more user friendly or that it's a friendlier watch, because certainly you know, the others are easy to use. But this is just one of the watches that it pops because they've really taken on a different look. And I love that about this, that they've made this special edition, limited edition, and look how much we've taken off the price. With most of our Luminoxes, if we can get half off, we're doing pretty good. Well, we're well below that because the $1,200 price point would be half off. But this is $1,400 new. Now, if you wait till midnight on Sunday, we will mark that back up because we like to pay for the lights and stuff here at the building, and $779. But right now, this limited edition piece is only $599. So if you've been looking to get into a price-protected Luminox, all Swiss-made sapphire crystal, then you have to consider this 44 millimeter watch. Now, it's an unusual shaped case. We realize it's going to measure out a little differently or may wear a little differently because of the unusual geometric shape. But that's about, it's going to wear like about a 44, 45 millimeter. You will notice that even though it is a race-inspired watch and you have everything from the checkered flag and of course Tony's colors throughout, you also have that large date complication at the 6 o'clock. But notice right here on this track is all of the lume for the watch. Now, if you look at these tubes filled with tritium, all this is a self-illuminating substance. Unlike, you know, painted on types of lume that you'd have to put up to light and allow it to charge up, this constantly has illumination to it. Now guys, perchance do we have the lume for this watch? Just wondering. I know that we don't for every single one, But what you would see is each of these individual tubes has its own gas inside. And you have about 20 years of half-life on here before you even begin to start seeing that degradation. Now the Swiss-made Ronda movement in here, you know, is going to be reliable, it's going to be accurate, it's going to be a workhorse for this watch. And I think it's going to look great. If you can't, go ahead and take a peek at the lume here, and you're going to see it mimics exactly like that racetrack you saw. And this is what you're going to see when you step out at night. Now, tritium is used so reliably that even hunters and gun collectors happen to have gun sights with tritium built into it. Now, one of the things I was going to show you, that the strap on the watch has a contrasting color to it, and I can show it to you by just reversing it in just a second. But when you come back to that live shot, you're taking a look at the watch on the wrist. That 45 millimeter case is a great fit. There's a lot of great looks. Of course, that black leather really does look great. You're seeing pops of white. But you'd also notice, if you were to take the strap off, that that white is completely on the inside.
I love the sides of the case. If you could show a side profile, you can see all of that mirror polished carbon fiber inlay there. That is so cool. Everything about this is racing inspired. And as we've talked about on the shows before, Luminox makes partnerships with people such as Tony Kanaan, with the Space Exploration Corporation, with the U.S. Navy SEALs. And what they do is they design timepieces with representatives from those places, and then those watches are actually worn by those individuals. And you can read all about their history and all of the different partnerships on their website, of course, Luminox.com. And so I appreciate that, because it's not just a watch company that's saying, oh, we designed something for Tony Kanaan and his racing fans.
And he signed off on it somewhere.
No, he was involved in the steps of the design aesthetic. They do this with the Color Mark series, which we see with the Navy SEALs. Navy SEAls actually wear their watches. There are photos, there's literature about it online. It's really quite interesting. So I love that they don't just say, oh, this is a watch that was designed if you love this racer. It actually does make sense. Now, if you know nothing about Tony Kanaan, but you just think the watch is cool.
It looks good.
It doesn't have his name on it. It doesn't have the word Brazil, because the colors are his racing colors, but also he's Brazilian, so they're from his country, of course. If you just love the look, you can totally rock this kind of watch. I just like the fact that Luminox, when they do partnerships, they go all in. They don't just say, oh, we designed this for Tony Kanaan. No. He designed the watch with them. He signed off on it, and that I appreciate. 277-393, $600.
For a Luminox.
More than half off.
For a limited edition Luminox.
We've been doing some amazing prices on our Luminox watches. You know, it used to be, and we used to always say this, Luminox was a price-protected brand, and it is. But it's so cool to be able to be on the shows with less than dealer cost, with more than 50% off. So one last look, we are going from one, oh, this is a watch for me, actually. We are going from one very, very sporty men's racing inspired watch to a watch that, if you caught the shows last week, you know I actually made this watch my hot pick. It is Swiss made, but it is Swiss made, Swiss Legend. And this is the all new Swiss Legend Legacy. This is a watch that, as I said, I made my hot pick last week on the show. I love these new Swiss Legends. We've got the Blue Geneve and the Legacy. This is the Legacy, of course. You'll notice that they are slightly different, or actually they're quite different in their design. But the 38 millimeter Legacy, much like the Blue Geneve, is all about sport luxury. When I was in that brand meeting on Friday, Niso Barocas, who of course is the creative director for all of our company-owned brands, he was talking about how the direction Swiss Legend is going in, where it's sort of been, but where it's really, really moving towards, is sport luxury. It is the kind of style that, much like myself, I could wear this to the show while working, and then I could wear it out to dinner on a Friday night, but I could also wear it to the beach or the gym. It's got that sport luxury look. What better luxury than a 200-meter professional diver with a mother-of-pearl dial? Look at this mother-of-pearl dial. That is a true grade A mother-of-pearl that has been painted that royal blue. It's a two-tone of 18-karat rose and silver tone. And I'm going to lay this flat so you can see, because I want you to be able to see inside the movement when we come a little bit closer. It's a multi-function So what it actually is it appears to be a chronograph, but you've got the days of the week, your calendar date. Watch when I use the 2 o'clock pusher, that 3 o'clock subdial. See that? It sets the date. When I use the 4 o'clock subdial, look at the 6 o'clock position. It changes that subdial for a secondary time zone. That's a 24-hour chapter ring. So you could have that as the AM/PM indicator, or you could have that offset almost like a GMT. All of that in this ISA movement in a Swiss-made watch. The size is great. Again, ladies, if you are looking for a watch that's got a presence to it, but is not too big, you can see from a little bit of a backup shot, you can see here that it's not too big and bulky at all. It fits really, really well. You've got solid end link construction on your stainless steel bracelet. You've got that Sapphitech crystal that gives you a 10-year warranty against scratching and a 5-year warranty on the ISA movement. 289-547, $200 for the Legacy. Now, as promised, we do have other sizes of that blue Geneve, my hot pick being the 42 millimeter. Wiley showed off the 48 millimeter chronograph. Gentlemen out there, and I know you said you like this size at 46 millimeters. Right here, this one features the ISA 2331 quartz movement inside. It's a 3-handed 46 millimeters. Black dial, black ceramic bezel insert, rose tone case bezel bracelet. $180 or your first payment of $36. 200 meters of water resistance in a Swiss-made watch. 287-838.
Following right behind that, again, here is another variation. This is the 46 millimeter blue Geneve, and this time with the two-tone stainless steel with that gorgeous blue dial once again. This is one of those watches that the moment you pick it up, it's going to be an attention getter. The moment you put it on the wrist, part of it is going to be that beautiful ceramic bezel with the gorgeous matching blue dial. Now, how they've matched up some of these at times, particularly the ones that have mother of pearl, is amazing. And you're going to be delighted when you see it. This in the two-tone variation, I think, is one of the most versatile, and it's why folks have been buying this so readily. Only $36 gets this home. $179.99 is the total price, and of course we pay for shipping and we have a money-back guarantee. Brand new design, all Swiss made. We are delighted to be able to offer this to you, and it's hard to believe that we're heading into the third hour.
Our third and final hour. We are going to go back to the same theme that we had in our first hour. Showcase all bestseller watches. Probably have a few more Swiss-made watches tucked in there as well. Every single item is on 5 and 6 stress-free payments. So you are really able to shop with a lot of confidence for the holiday that not only are you getting the guaranteed low price, but should you so want to, you can use the stress-free payments. And it's not a layaway plan. Once you make your first payment today, we actually process your order and ship it out to you tomorrow. So you get these items within a matter of days. I love it. You don't have to wait until you make all the payments. You can just put your first one down on any major credit card, and just like that, we ship it off to you. Let's jump into a preview and show you what's coming up in our third and final hour together.
Oh, are you happy?
I am happy. And we have not had the gunmetal variation of this watch in so long. I'm so excited to be able to show this to you. The Alain Barocas Gladiator. If there was one watch from Alain, well, I guess I would have to say two, because I love the Fortitudo and the Gladiator. This 50 millimeter case is so sexy, is so gorgeous. This is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is the kind of watch everyone can wear, and I will prove that to you when I even try this on, and it fits perfectly. But also, it's the kind of watch that you can wear, gentlemen, to a business meeting or to the beach. 190924, $90, 5 payments. Always a bestseller. Literally every single show, this Bulova dress watch is always a popular choice. 210278. You've got the expanded date window at the 12 o'clock position, a fully functioning Japanese chronograph quartz movement. One of the slimmest watches of the entire show, even with a concave case design. So what that means is it actually tapers towards the case back, so the slim watch becomes even slimmer on the wrist. $140, but I say use the payments. $28 gets it home, interest-free. 210278.
One of my favorite watches happens to also come from Bulova, and that's the Precision. Precisionist is the world's most accurate quartz movement. Now, this variation has every bell and whistle, including all of that beautiful rose-tone gold over stainless steel. You're not only getting a timekeeper, but you're getting an exceptional timekeeper all the way down to 1/1000th of a second with a retrograde subdial at the 6 o'clock position. It's going to give you everything you want and more. So if you decide to time the Olympics, don't worry, you can do it. Hour, minute, continuously operating sweep hand is a small seconds. You also have a locked-in to place sweep hand, which can double as a sweeping hand. It has a 1/10th, 1/100th, and 1/1000th of a second, and a minute, an hour totaler, and a date complication. Absolutely unbelievable. The watch is one of my favorites, and if you look at it and you realize it's $899, that's an expensive timepiece. But look at what you can do for only $329. All of that at a fraction of the price, and only $66 gets it home. Amazing, and we love our Bulova Precisionist. Now, if you're going to go with go big or go home, then go Breitling.
I like that.
Go big, go home, or go Breitling. Breitling is just one of those pinnacle watches. It's up there. You know the brands, whether it is Omega or Omega, if you happen to be in Great Britain, or it happens to be Rolex. Breitling is just right there. It runs with the big dogs. Now, here's a watch with 450 parts. A complete perpetual calendar adjusted once every leap year. You know, with the B19 movement, which is a 38 jewel automatic with 42 hours of power reserve within this 43 millimeter case, you're getting a lot of watch. There's the sapphire crystal that's protecting that beautiful dial. Each one of the subdials does double duty because each subdial has two functions, and there is also a AM, PM, or moon phase indicator on there. Love the watch all the way down to what I think is the best bracelet in the watch world. Dress watch, yes. Luxury watch all the way. But also if you're heading out somewhere and you're heading on that epic vacation, here is a great world traveler. You're going to love this watch. 282721 for the Breitling Transocean. The 43 millimeter, it is gorgeous.
My hot pick is item number 287844. It is the 42 millimeter Blue Geneve. Here you are looking at a mother of pearl dial, a white ceramic bezel insert, which of course scratch resistant. That along with the proprietary scratch resistant Sapphitech crystal means that the top of this watch is like a beautiful little tank. Nothing's gonna scratch it up. This is the second of the 4 sizes available. It's a 3-hand with the ISA 2331 3-hand quartz movement inside. That movement has an average battery life of 66 months. So you got 5.5 years on average with this movement. I want you to see the side profile because ladies, if you're thinking, well, I like it, but it might be too big, I have a 6-inch wrist. It fits perfectly. It's got a presence to it. It feels like that boyfriend watch. It feels like that menswear inspired design that is so popular with ladies' watches now in something that doesn't look masculine. Doesn't look like I'm wearing something that really was a men's watch. There's a time and a place for that. I own a few men's watches and I love them. But I like something that's big but designed for a woman's wrist. If I tilt this down, you can see the 6 o'clock number there. Swiss made on either side of that. The all-new Swiss-made Swiss Legend watches. Get used to it because we're going to have a lot more coming up in the next few months. Two-tone here of rose tone and silver tone. The rose is all brushed except around that dodecagon bezel. That's that geometric shape. I love the way the edges even of the case are beveled off, so it has almost a maritime or nautical inspired design, which is perfect because the watch also has 200 meters of water resistance. Yes, you could actually wear this watch while scuba diving. 287844, one last look. And if anything like last hour, this watch is the #1 seller because about a half hour ago, it was the #1 seller in our top 10. So I hope it stays that way. A watch that is undoubtedly a top seller. A watch that the holiday season 2 years ago, I believe it was, This watch premiered maybe a year ago. I'm starting to get a little confused.
It's one of the first watches I ever showed on the show.
I remember that. I always think about this watch being one of the first watches, and what's the other one I always think of? It'll come to me in a moment. These are the watches that are truly, truly some of the best value. This is the kind of watch, Wiley, you could wear it with the dressed up shirt that you have on right now, or with a t-shirt and jeans.
Oh, this is absolutely. This is the watch is a little large, but the design and the style actually calls for
The
it.
Tungsten watch. I always think about you with the Swiss Legend Tungsten watch.
Yes, which I bought for my son, and he loves
Sorry,
that
I didn't
watch.
mean to just like stream of consciousness there.
Hey, can I buy a tungsten bracelet? Will they let me do that?
I think we could
Well,
probably
we can
work something
arrange
out.
that. I'll talk to somebody. Probably the janitorial staff. The only people that return my calls. The Alain Barocas Gladiator is a bold design. Now, there are other configurations of this watch in other colors, so please consult the website. We have just the right one for you, but this very dark and sinister version is one of the ones that you're going to love to add to your collection because when you need it to blend in, it does, but it always makes a bold design on the wrist. As you look into the watch, you'll see the multiple layers that actually make up the watch. Notice that there's a lot of texturing going on here. Three-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, and a continuously operating sweep hand as a small seconds at the 2 o'clock position. You'll also notice there are two additional subdials for the multifunctions within the watch. One of them is a day of the week, and then an expanded date window there at the 4 o'clock position, but it's a reverse date window, which means it has a black wheel with white lettering as opposed to the white wheel black lettering. The watch almost sits up with what Megan has affectionately called a crown on the top, and you'll actually see the bolts that are holding this multiple layer case together. Is it a bold design? You better believe it. Is it worth $200? Every penny. The $189 price point, which is our wow price, is an incredible value, but look, under 90. Have we had this under? We had this price before?
We are back at holiday price. Normally throughout the year we air it for about $100, so now we are down to 90 bucks.
I've never seen this at $18 to get it home. Okay, just so that folks know, if you are unsure about the watch, you're unsure, of course you're shopping with confidence from us, but here's what I want you to know. This particular watch and this particular brand, the Alain Barocas brand, is one that I have 100% confidence in because, one, Niso, has named a watch after a family member.
His daughter.
Yeah, I was about to say, and with his name on the watch, don't you think a little extra, just a little bit extra eyeball is on it? Mm-hmm. The quality of this watch that bears his name is just one of those that you're going to completely feel comfortable with. Even though it's a large watch, look at how the lugs wrap around. That's a perfect fit. I mean, it's a big watch. Perfect fit, but there's still a generous amount of strap if you needed more. And look, you can even make this fit down to a much smaller wrist. Megan has a 6-inch wrist. This watch will fit easily, and she has worn it on more than one occasion.
I'm actually going to show you that right now. I want to try this watch on because I want everybody out there to see that even though it's a 50 millimeter, it does size down. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we have quite a few ladies viewers who have written in that they own this watch. They've purchased this watch. This and the Alain Barocas Fortitudo. Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar with the Fortitudo, I encourage you to check it out on our website as well. I call them sort of fraternal twins because they are very, very similar in their design aesthetic. The cases are almost identical, but of course the everything that they do to the case afterwards makes them very, very different. But they're both 50 millimeters that do fit down to a 6-inch wrist. I don't even have it on the tightest closure.
And it fits.
Oh, it fits perfectly. It's so comfortable. I like this because I'm a fan of kind of that European or Italian style design. I think for gentlemen, it looks great. I have always had such a hard time deciding between, I love black and rose, but then the black and gunmetal, which is what this is. That gunmetal, which is obviously a slightly lighter shade than if this was all blacked out with black ionic plating. The gunmetal is so rich. It's almost like if Batman had an Alain. There's something cool about it. The high contrast for the tips of the hands make it so easy to read and to see your chrono just from a glance down at the wrist. And that is a Swiss-made ISA 8172 quartz chronograph movement. Look at that. No gapping, no spacing. This is a cool watch. 190924. $18 a month. That means you put $18 down on any major credit card. We are shipping this bad boy out to you tomorrow.
Are you suggesting that Niso is Batman? He would make a great Batman. He'd probably be the most elegant Batman ever.
And that's saying something.
Okay, we have only aired this one time before. And this is a watch that both you and I got very excited about because as the #1 seller, authorized seller of Invicta, being able to present these watches is it's just a lot of fun. Take a look. You're getting a lot of watch here. The moment you look into that dial and you see that carbon fiber and you realize there are certainly the large hour indices that are, I think they use trittonite for their loom on Invictas. So I'm sure that's what's been used here at the hour indices as well as on the hands. You have a great unirotating bezel that just snaps into place. And look, there's that color again. You're seeing that ruby red coming through. And what I also like about this is on the polyurethane strap, they've added an additional layer of decoration with that great kind of perforated metal mesh that runs through there. Now, it's very finished all the way around. There is no doubt about that. But where this could have just been left as solid, no. They've decided to add just another splash of detail, just like Invicta does. Now, there is a very resounding click to this as this rotates because you can just tell the quality. 3-hand configuration in this watch. There's the hour, the minute, that continuously operating sweep hand, and of course date complication at the 3 o'clock position with a cyclops that is over it. That cyclops lens is allowing you to more easily read the time. You can see that screw down back that's going to help add to the water resistance of the watch. And of course you have all the way down to the Invicta engraving on the side of the case. The watch is 47 millimeters. I was talking to a guy the other night that collects watches, and he just said, I love all of the diving collection from Invicta. Mind you, that's a lot of watches. But he just, every time he associated Invicta, he didn't think dress watch. He didn't think of the big, bold designs that sometimes you and I talk about. All he could think about was dive watches.
Really?
And there is just, he said, I love it because a lot of their watches pull from the look that I might see in a Rolex, I might see in a Submariner. But he said, who, on his price point, he said, who could afford that? And he's right. That's very expensive. Even if you're going into a base model, you're going with $6,000 to $8,000 for your introductory, watch. Well, here's a watch that has a lot of look, a lot of pop for only $80. I want to slip this on, and you can just take a look for a second. Without, some watches lay flat like that, and they'll go all the way. Notice that automatically takes that shape of a wrist. Now, I want to slip this on my wrist and let you see how that 47 millimeter case looks. I think it looks pretty good. And because it's in the natural shape of my wrist, yeah, incredibly comfortable to wear. Look at that.
That fits you perfectly, and it's all about the construction. So that's why the case and the lug area, even the integrated rubber strap being curved, if you've got a smaller wrist, like we both have under 7-inch wrists, but when you see us wearing watches that are this big, I mean, you only know for yourself, it's going to be even better if you've got a bigger wrist.
Do you like the pop of red through there? That kind of ruby red?
I do. I always am partial with dive watches or with sport luxury watches like this, maybe having, especially when they're divers, having bits of blue in them. I always say I like that. But I do like when I see a color. I love when men wear color on a watch. I think that a lot of times men tend to stay in that safe zone of blacks and silvers and maybe a little bit of brown, rarely white, or as much as I would like to see. So if you like a color, I think it's kind of fun, especially for a sport watch, something you're going to wear just on the weekends and such.
This red, to me, it's not in a fluorescent red. It's not in a fire engine red. It is such a jewel tone ruby red that it's very classic. It does not feel offensive or harsh at all. And it's one of those that I would easily wear this watch. It's not ostentatious. I love the fact that it has that very strong sporty feel to it with that carbon fiber. But look at the detail all the way down to the Invicta logo. Look how much detail there is right there on the sweep hand. I love this watch, and the fact that you're not having to pay full price. Okay, the watch, I don't know what planet they think it's going to be $795, maybe a watch of this style. But again, this is probably, $150, $200 is a good price for the watch. Once it made it down to the $119 price, okay, you've got my attention. I want it at $100 if you really want me to buy the watch. Well, you've dropped it down to $79.99. That's a no-brainer. $16. Do you have, Mom, Dad, do you have a young person in your world that they need a watch? And you want something that's going to be really cool, that's going to be durable, that's going to last? Then consider this watch, because only $16 gets it home, and you're only out, a total of $80 for the watch. And we're going to pay for shipping, and there's a money-back guarantee. So should they get it and decide that no, that's not the watch, unlikely, then you can always send it back. Now, speaking of watches that we really like.
How funny that we were just saying with the tungsten watches, and here they are. But you know what? And I know that we touched on this on the last shows. We haven't had the full Tungsten Pro on bracelet in so long. Most of the time, we only have the tungsten case and bezel with the rubber straps. We've got full tungsten here.
This is super nice, and I want the white one. I know you would think that I would pick the red, but there again, you'll find that when you need that classic configuration, that look that says business, it has an understated elegance, I go with the white or silver. Nice. I mean, the black is very classic, but this is clean. Folks, notice this looks almost like a chrome, and that there is a bit more polish than maybe you're used to seeing. This is tungsten. Tungsten is one of the most durable materials. You'll find it in everything from jewelry to surgical items to implants. It's just one of those things that, because of its weight, durability, the fact that it's hypoallergenic, you'll see it in high-end jewelry. Maybe even you're wearing a wedding ring right now that is made of tungsten. Maybe you have jewelry with tungsten. You know how expensive that was. Now imagine this watch made of tungsten. And that's the case and the bracelet. Now follow me just for a second, because I'm going to move this just to weigh it. So I don't want to drop it out of camera frame too much. Are you guys watching? They're not. Let's see if they're awake in there. Give them a second. I'm still on here. Don't leave me. 200. That's all I was doing, is weighing it out. 200 grams. That's a heavy watch.
Oh yeah, it's a weighty watch.
You have a dual push button, dual deploy, and I'm going to trade out because I have the white one, but I'm going to go ahead and slip the red one on because you do need to see it. This is a very bright red. It's an orangey red.
We call it Swiss Legend red.
It is, but it is not a bad red. It's just a very loud red. And I think it's designed, when you're wearing a tungsten watch, go ahead and plan on getting attention, because it doesn't look like stainless steel, it doesn't look like silver, it doesn't look like platinum. It's not quite in a gunmetal, but there's a slight smokiness to it. It's a high polish, and this is going to look this way a thousand years from now.
You know what also Swiss Legend gives you when they give you the high quality scratch resistant watches like tungsten or ceramic? Sapphire crystals.
So when you've got the durability of tungsten, you've got that uni-rotating bezel, which is going to make this for a great dive watch. You have a sapphire crystal. This watch is going to look this good 1,000 years from now. If not in 1,000 years, return it to Swiss Watch International. Megan and I will still be here.
You know what I love? I'm wearing the Titanio from Swiss Legend. It looks very similar to this right now. I've got it on, it's the watch I'm wearing personally today. You can see, I'll just put it in. So you can see it's very similar.
Nice.
This is titanium carbide over ceramic. It's got a very similar look to tungsten, but tungsten weighs more, whereas ceramic weighs a little less than stainless steel. Tungsten actually weighs a little bit more. But what's so nice is it's like a little insurance policy on the wrist. You will not bang this watch up. You will not scratch this watch up. You are guaranteed to have a watch that's going to make a statement, and yet you've got that reassurance there where you don't have to worry about it. It has the Swiss ETA G10-211 quartz chronograph movement, so you got a really cool ETA Swiss-made movement inside. $190 for a watch that will look brand new forever. 5 payments of $38, $705.95. That's how you know it's an original. That's how you know these are originals, because you can see the numbers like the Bulova dress, a newer watch in our inventory because the number is longer, 210278. So whenever we have items up there with numbers that only have 5 numbers in them, like the tungsten, that's how you know it's kind of an old school brand.
I just think they forgot a number.
No.
I just make one up when I give them numbers out on the air when you're not here. I just add one. That way they're surprised. Ooh, I didn't realize I ordered sunglasses. This is a great dress watch. Megan was talking about this watch earlier, and it really is just one of those pieces. I'm going to have to let the light reflect off the dial for you to really capture what we're seeing here in the studio. Because as the watch, I mean, that looks good, but when you see how it's all in high mirror polish, that the tachymeter style chapter ring on the outer part of the dial really looks phenomenal. 3-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, a small second subdial at the 6 o'clock position. You have 2 additional totalers there for the chronograph. You happen to have an expanded date window at the 12 o'clock position, which gives you a glimpse inside. And as you look at the watch and you realize, you know, this is a very low profile watch. This is that great dress watch for the office. There's just something about it that the moment you pick it up, you almost feel like you're picking up a vintage watch again. Because so many of the other styles are in the diver style, and they look a lot like that, like we saw with the Invicta earlier. It's a great look. I mean, it's a very popular look. This harkens back to a different era. Now, you do get a dual push button, dual scissor deployment, which allows you easily to put the watch off and on the wrist. And you can see that some of them are pry apart. I happen to like the push button. So a simple push of the pusher allows both of those, and it swings out. Let me slip this on the wrist. You take a peek right there and see how it looks. What do you think?
I think it's nice.
I think there's an elegance to this that is very understated. It really does fit well.
It looks like a vintage Bulova watch.
It does, but there is still just some 21st century touches in there, such as the larger Arabic numerals, just the way that the subdials are placed. The expanded date window is a nice touch that they've added over the years. And I think when you get the watch and you realize, you know, that reliable Japanese quartz movement that's in there, the construction of the bracelet, the style that is within the dial, all of this for under $140. I mean, don't pay $400 in the jewelry store. I mean, saw a young man wearing a Citizen watch. It was a nice watch. But I said, oh, that's very nice. He goes, oh, you won't believe it. I got it from the jewelry store here in the mall. It was only $250. And I just went, I wish you had called me. Because here, this watch, if somebody came to me and said, oh, I just bought this watch for $400, I'd be excited they had the watch, but you could have bought, you know, 2 or 3 of them from us. You don't have to pay retail. As watchmakers, watch designers, we know how to find a good deal. Either we're making the watch or we're finding it from those who are making the watches, and we bring them to you. You're shopping with confidence. Remember, this watch is only $28 to get it home. That's your first of 5 stress-free, interest-free payments. And we want to make sure that these come to you ASAP. And like Megan said, this is one of our new designs, 210278. We'll get you the Bulova dress watch home, and you will not be disappointed, because heaven's sakes, if you are, we'll bring it right back to us, and we'll even pay for it to do so, and we'll give you every penny back. How about a brand new Lucien Piccard?
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen this?
I have not seen the Optima before. This is gorgeous.
This is an incredible piece, and I'm sitting here just looking at the details on the watch, and they are innumerable. This is one of the watches that, again, you will not be disappointed to be able to get this home. Folks, you know, it has 50 meters of water resistance. It has a beautiful mineral crystal, 316L stainless steel, and again, it looks incredible. It's one of the watches that...
brand new.
Yes, and I think it's, again, it is absolutely beautiful. And, you know, as folks are watching this program, you know, or different ones throughout the week, aren't you glad that we have watches like this to offer? Because we have the classic styles, we have unusual styles, we have a lot going on. To be able to have this brand new design, I mean, is absolutely phenomenal. The Japanese automatic movement that's on the inside of this, of course, is going to be reliable and accurate. And you can just look into that beating heart, because this is a great way to get a skeletonized movement with an open heart configuration, but it not be a full skeletonization. And I think it looks fantastic. If that's one to add to your collection, do not hesitate, because it is stunning. Now, one of our favorite brands, and the one we happen to have an outstanding relationship, is Maurice Lacroix. And here you're looking at a, you know, a collection that is, it's not part of the masterpiece. It's not one of the others that can be very, very expensive. Now, believe it or not, this is a bargain at $9,900. You know, that is incredible. But what you're looking at is a 25 jewel automatic, all Swiss made with the ML155 movement. Now, don't you love how this looks so much like gold?
Oh, yes, I do.
Because it's solid 18 karat gold.
This is a solid gold watch, and you know what? We have never aired this size of the Le Classique collection before. How amazing that this is a $10,000 watch, and we each have an option that we're trying on to showcase.
Oh, and I like both of them. This is an easy-to-read version of the watch. You know, I've told this story a couple of times to you, but I've got to tell it again. I was at the jewelry store here in town, and I walked in. I wanted to compare what we have to offer with what some of the other jewelry stores have to offer in gold watches. And I said, can you show me a solid 18 karat gold watch in either men or ladies? I'm looking for some gift ideas.
Oh, stop it.
Well, it's true, Megan. And it was interesting. She said, well, we do have a starting price of $5,000, but that's for the smaller ladies' watches. And this was, you know, the petite size. So understand, when you go into the jewelry store world, you're looking at $5 grand for a solid gold watch. And this is solid 18 karat gold. We're going to show you close-ups in just a minute of this case, of the movement. This is not a quartz movement inside of a gold case. We've not, you know, cheaped out in any way to give you this beautiful look for this watch. It is solid 18 karat gold. The ML155 movement is incredible inside this watch. Notice that they very subtly placed in that date complication at the 6 o'clock. 3-hand configuration outside of that. And that beautiful, beautiful gold. Of course, that's alligator. And not only is the watch gold, are you going to love the fact that even the buckle is also solid 18 karat gold? I mean, that is fairly incredible that you're getting that value all the way around. Folks, if you've always wanted to wear solid gold, but it has prohibited you from buying it, then realize for only $466, you're able to get this watch home on the first payment, and it's 6 payments altogether. And you're only paying $27.99 for the watch, not $10,000, and heaven forbid the $5 grand for a small version in the jewelry store. Now, I like the white configuration of this watch, but look at what Megan has. And I'll show them the back. I'll set this up. Guys, I'm going to set this up so they can see the back, and you can come in on that while you're taking a peek at Megan's selection.
So these are actually both 37 millimeter cases. I know that this one now says the graphics say 38. They are actually both 37 millimeters.
It just means on your wrist, Megan, it wears like a 38.
So I don't know. We'll have that adjusted. But here you can see this is a 37 millimeter solid rose gold timepiece. Look at how slim it is on the wrist. Solid gold buckle there. Again, rose tone. This is for me like the ultimate watch, right? It's solid rose and black. I always talk about how much I love black. Black and rose together with this gorgeous alligator strap. Easy. I mean, this is a size that's smaller than the watch I'm currently wearing. So it's very, very easy to wear. I'm going to take mine off and show you. Sorry, I'll just do that since I've got it.
But Megan, you know what? I measured the watch out, and it comes out to 37 3/4. So it is technically 37, but it's also right at 38 too.
Okay, okay. If you read our website, it's going to say 37 millimeters, but it's good that you measured that then, because it's always different on our website, unfortunately.
Well, you have to pick when you're at that halfway point. And probably one person
I round up. I would have rounded up to 38.
You want to make it bigger.
18 karat gold right there. Perlage decoration. Côte de Genève on the custom rotor there. You can see this is all Swiss made. 25 jewel automatic movement inside. 18 karat buckle. It's elegant. It's stunning. This is the kind of watch that you own and you don't need much else. I apologize for my fingerprints on there. I was obviously caressing and loving this watch because it is so amazing. You guys saw how it looked on my wrist. You saw how it looked on Wiley's wrist. It is a great size. Very, very friendly for everyone in that true classic size. 286-484. 6 payments. You're under $500. Think about that for a moment. It's an $8,000 timepiece in solid gold. You're at $2,900. You're at a fraction of that price. And you can use 6 interest-free payments. We are maxing it out. 286-484. You have a solid gold Maurice Lacroix.
And you know, I hate to say this, but this bargain price that you're seeing right now is less than what I paid, even with trying to finagle, you know, hey, can I have host price? And they, of course, said that'll be double. And because you know what they pay us. But seriously, folks can get that watch for less than I was able to pay for my Maurice Lacroix. And that's not said with any ill. It is just, that's what happens. Sometimes when we buy an allotment, it may be less, but that's probably one of the lowest prices I've seen for a solid gold watch, and worth every penny. Please, please, please consider that for your collection, or maybe somebody in your world at this holiday season is going to get the best gift ever. Good taste.
We have moved on to the Redline Night Rally, a 48mm racing-inspired design. A design that is actually one of our viewers, Dan, tweeted in a photo of his wrist wearing this watch. I just want to read that tweet. He wrote, "Just got this watch. It looks great and feels good on the wrist." He is rocking this exact variation, the 48mm Night Rally. Thicker case, but notice the curvature. I like the knurling done in the center portion of the case, because you can see it's a multi-piece case design. Look at the knurling then in there, around that massive screw-down crown, piston-style pushers. And then look at that same texturing inside the dial. So it goes from that knurling matched up right there inside the dial. And I like the different colors that they've used inside the subdials, inside your chronograph. It really feels like you are looking at something that is wild, that is automotive, that is racing inspired. Look at that texture. That's great right there. Look at how thick the Arabic numerals and stick hour markers are, all applied. Stop and reset your VD53 with date. Quartz chronograph movement. Little pops of yellow and orange with the red. You can see even that first portion of the minute scale right there. Same thing. I just think that is cool. The tachymeter scale is just for decoration in this case, because your continuous running seconds hand is for the timekeeping. But you get that tactical look. Now this watch here has a rubber strap. Ooh, look, even the rubber has that same texture as the knurling. $17 will get it home. 281-691. If you want more though, maybe you don't want a strap. Maybe you want a bracelet.
Well, how fortunate the designers have already anticipated your every whim. And they've given you all of that style, all of that look, all of that sportiness, but just like some people who really, really want the metal bracelet, they've given you that as well. It is the same 48mm watch head, but this time they've put it on a custom bracelet that with a solid end links that match right up, and I think this looks incredible. Now, one of the things you can do that may be a nice, inexpensive way to have both looks is you certainly could order it in the stainless steel and then order an additional, say, rubber strap if you wanted to have both looks. I think that would be less expensive than ordering the watch in the rubber strap and then trying to find a metal bracelet that's going to be a custom fit. It really does look great. And you notice the piston style pushers really do look like pistons. I mean, that to me, again, is pulling from that automotive detail, and they have been relentless in the details of the watch. Again, look at that knurling that you were talking about in the sandwich style case, because you can see the top part of the bezel and then the bottom part of the watch, but it's all kind of knurled in there. Let's see if I can get that around there right there so you can see it. That looks great. It really does. I also like the fact that if you happen to be outside, more active, it would be easy to adjust the watch with that large crown. So I happen to like this watch a lot. I love the pops of color that are in there, and I think it looks great. It's also one of the watches that's easy to tell time from a distance. I don't know if you have anybody with low vision in your world, but sometimes finding those watches that are great, that meet a lot of additional needs, is a great way to go too. You have a date complication at the 4 o'clock position. You happen to have those 3 subdials for your chronograph, and just as Megan was talking about, you have a continuously operating sweep hand, and then what would be a small seconds at the 6 o'clock is actually for your chronograph. I think this watch has a lot of style to it, and it's a heavy watch. I mean, this is not your lightweight watch. This is one of the, this is a watch that's serious. Notice that pop of color that you don't notice until you see the side of the watch? So much detail here. $189, that's the price point for the watch. $189, but you're able to get it with us for $94, and that's incredible for a brand new design. $19 gets it home. This is going to make a great gift for somebody in your world. Don't let this one get away. The Redline Night Rally on stainless steel bracelet or on the rubber or silicone strap certainly does look great. Now, who's the #1 seller of authorized seller of Invicta in the world? We are. Don't you love that? I love the fact that we have that kind of not a question. No, it really is. And I like this one a lot. This watch really surprises me with how lightweight it is. And part of that is going to be the construction of the bracelet. So as we're coming, oh, look at that. All right, friends and family, Invicta fans, here is a Sea Spider with a 50mm case. And look at this. You notice the entire bracelet is articulated. It bends at every spot. Some bracelets have flexibility, but these are almost like tank treads. And there's a great flexibility there. Megan, do you like this?
Do you know what's so nice about this watch is you can get that quality and that high-end feel with stainless steel, but since it's all wrapped in that polyurethane coating, you don't ever have to worry about scratching up your bracelet and having those scratches visible.
I think it looks and feels incredible. There's a lightweightness to it as well that maybe isn't quite like everything else.
It's very unique.
Oh, I'm going to... All right, as we're coming into that closer shot, I want you to take a look at the dial, look at the 3-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, and that continuously operating sweep hand, 2 totalers there for the chronograph, as well as a date complication at the 3 o'clock, but I want you to see the back. Here's what Megan and I both happen to like quite a bit.
Oh, I like that.
Notice that they
plated
the case back. It just says that they are doing the good stuff. Standard stainless steel case. You have a Japanese chronograph, which is going to be reliable and accurate. It's the VD57 movement inside. 200 meters of water resistance. So with 200 meters of water resistance and a great unirotating bezel, you have a great dive watch. I mean, why would you have a watch called a Sea Spider if you couldn't dive in it? All right, let's take a look at the watch on the wrist, and it is incredibly comfortable. Megan, I realize this watch may be a little big for you, but you have to feel this bracelet on the wrist. I love as it wraps around, you're seeing the pops of gold, but when you feel how comfortable this watch looks and feels on the wrist, okay, that's a big watch. You're going to see what I'm talking about when you feel it. This has a completely different feel to it than any of the watches that we've had this entire time.
I just love the way the polyurethane, it gives it kind of that sporty edge, but also makes this a great item because it's a professional diver. Look at how well that fits.
But it's not only fits, but is it not just incredibly comfortable?
It feels cool. Yeah, it feels really cool.
It doesn't feel like any of the other materials that are on the wrist, and I like that.
I see a lot of ladies that wear the 50+ millimeter Invicta watches. Invicta was one of the first brands, in my opinion, that really popularized everyone wearing bigger case sizes, not just men.
And this is a tasteful design, because you know, I'm not saying that Invicta is tasteless on the
Sometimes
75
they can get
millimeter,
crazy.
but there's some giant watches.
Absolutely.
And they are certainly hitting a cultural point, but this is nice.
This is really fun. 119742, a 50 millimeter Sea Spider, a professional diver from Invicta.
Now, coming up right behind that, let's just completely change gears all the way around. Here is that watch. Again, this falls, there's only been 3 on the show, and 2 of them are Maurice Lacroix. That if I had to only have one watch and had to carry for the rest of my days, this would be one of them.
Well, this is this exact variation, and then the one that's the opposite, which is the silver backdrop with the black subdials. These are the two that I was in that top, 5 that my boyfriend does really want for his birthday coming up. So I have to figure out which one I'm going to get. But you know what I've noticed?
What?
We dropped the price on this.
What?
Yeah, it wasn't $400 before. I think it was $500. We dropped the price a little bit more. How nice is that?
It's wonderful. I'm absolutely amazed, though, that they did that, because I was about to say...
$80 for a $1,700 watch. $80 a month.
Oh, and this feels every bit of it. I mean, there is such... It is as if every tiny little piece on this watch has been machined and meticulously finished so that there is a smoothness. What looks like the harshest edges on here are smooth. The watch is comfortable. And you're getting all of that style. When you have the 3-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand is a small seconds at the 2 o'clock position, 2 totalers, 2 great stylized pushers right next to that crown, a large date complication at the 12 o'clock with a large dual date wheel. It is a beautiful watch, and that Swiss Ronda movement that's in there, is going to last for years. You have a dual push button, dual scissor deployant, which allows you to easily slip the watch off and on. And this is my favorite version of it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not supposed to say this, but I just see Mickey Mouse, and being from Florida, that makes me happy. I mean, this is a high-end watch, $1,700, that you're getting for $80.
That's amazing. Think about all the watches that we've shown you in the past 2.5, 3 hours that have been $80. If you buy one watch a month and you've got a whole collection of $80 to $100 watches, well, you might have some great watches in there. But if you were to change your way of shopping and for the next 5 months, use your $80 a month budget to pay off this watch, now your whole watch collection has a little bit more value to it, because now you've got an item that you could wear for the rest of your life and then maybe even pass down.
Speaking of Maurice Lacroix quality, I have not shared this with you. The Maurice Lacroix that I bought, which is an automatic, stays on a watch winder when I'm not wearing it.
Good idea.
And I've probably had, probably a month now,
Yeah.
5, not lost a minute yet.
Really?
Now, I have a certified chronograph that's in a chronometer that's within another brand that I lose the traditional 10 to 15, maybe 20 seconds a day, maybe 15. That Maurice Lacroix has not lost time yet. That is the craftsmanship. I mean, I cannot tell you as a watch collector how impressed I am with that movement. Here is a watch from that same company that has watches that are tens of thousands of dollars for under $400. It's a watch for a lifetime. I mean, what is that worth?
A lot more than $80 a month.
If you give this as a gift, someone will think about you every single time they tell the time. Do you have a young person in your world, a spouse in your world, a boyfriend in your world, that you want to always have them think of you? Give them this watch. All right, folks. It's 286501.
Usually it's just the shock collar I make him wear. The watch is much nicer.
Revealing far too much information there. We should move on, shall we? Children are watching. 278945. A beautiful Seiko is coming right up. And there's a lot of watch here. Good heavens, look at this.
I know. This has one of those straps I love.
What is? This is one of the ones you're going to instantly have to say, I have to have that watch.
I just love...
And I agree with you.
You know, I love vintage military and kind of tactical inspired designs. And this one has it all. Not only do you have a compass, an alarm, you have so many different features on this one watch. This is like the Swiss Army knife of watches, so to speak.
This watch, to me, of course, you do have the alarm configuration built into it, but it also is part of their solar collection. And just as Citizen has the Echo Drive, Seiko has their solar collection. And that simply means that this watch allows light, any sort of photon, to pass through the dial, and it's going to be able to charge up the power cell on the inside. You're never going to have to buy a battery for this. In fact, 1 minute of light exposure is equal to 1 hour of the watch running. So even if this watch were put into complete darkness over a long period of time, the computer inside is still going to keep track of time, and it only needs to be exposed to the light for it to know exactly how to pick back up where it needs to be. You notice there's an additional crown right here. This is talk about adventurer's watch. it happens to have a bidirectional inner rotating bezel. And that is absolutely cool because it's protected by the crystal, so you don't have to worry about damaging that. Often we worry about if you have some sort of covering over your bezel, sometimes it can get scratched, bumped. In fact, I had a watch the other day that the bezel was messed up and it wasn't usable anymore. Here, it's protected. Of course, you're able to see that there is also that date complication within there and all the multiplicity of subdials for the chronograph. It's a great watch. Now, the watch sells for $445. That's what you're going to pay in the department stores, but when you realize we've marked it down to $286, and then we've taken that price point down all the way to $194.99 and only $39. That's your first of 5 stress-free, interest-free payments gets that beautiful watch home. Slipping it on the wrist real quick, and I think Megan, who happens to like this watch, needs to see it herself too. So I'm just take a quick peek. A quick peek. Hello, I'm having a quick peek. I thought you'd enjoy the watch. Right there, somewhere we're going to get an offensive letter. But take a look right there.
Wouldn't be the first one.
I'm the one writing them. All right, now I think that looks great on my wrist. Quick close up, then we'll come back to the live shot, because that's all pre-recorded right there. I'm not even here.
Yeah, right.
Do
you know that 6 o'clock subdial? That's a secondary time zone.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
It also is what's going to set the alarm for there too.
Lots of different functionality on this
looks
watch.
Great.
This has the V172 Japanese chronograph quartz movement inside. Of course, that is a movement made by Seiko. You've probably heard us talk a lot about movements on the show when we reference even some of our own brands. You know, our own brands like Redline and Lucien Piccard, we use Seiko and Miyota, which is Citizen movements. So right here from it themselves. I obviously have spoken many times on the show about my love for nylon straps. And so this one does one better, and let me show you why. The nylon strap is actually stitched down onto a leather strap.
Oh, that's nice, because if you perspire, you're not going to have the nylon rubbing against you. You have comfortable leather. That's
exactly,
nice.
And you know, sometimes nylon straps, like they get a little loose.
Yep.
That's
going to hold its shape.
Oh yeah, it's like wearing a leather strap. Here it is on my 6-inch wrist. I love the look. I just think it is fun. It is cool. It's got a compass inside, a secondary time zone, an alarm. You've got Seiko LumiBrite, which is some of the most luminous lume. Can you say luminous lume? Some of the most vibrant lume in the watch world is Seiko LumiBrite. $195. Look at that. You're under $40 a month.
Hardlex crystal. Hardlex is proprietary to Seiko, which, you know, we all love sapphire and we love Sapphitech, we love flame fusion. All of those are incredibly hard, but the hardness can create a brittleness, which means it can shatter. Seiko decided, you know what, we want the best of both worlds. We want a very, very scratch-resistant material, but also want something with a little bit of flexibility, and they created Hardlex, which is a hard, flexible material that's similar to a glass or crystalline substance, and it is a great, great crystal for your watch.
278-945. If you wait until Sunday after midnight, price goes up to nearly $300. How sad is that, knowing you can get it now on 5 payments of $39? Swiss legend, the Ocean Abyssos. This right here, 100 meters of water resistance, so some fun free diving, if you will, some fun snorkeling and recreational diving, not professional grade. That would mean 200 meters of water resistance. 47 millimeter case, all blacked out, $73. Here features the best of all Swiss Legend has to offer. Swiss-made chronograph movement inside. It's the ISA 8172. The reason I like the 8172 is, personally, I don't need a chronograph to time things. I'm never at races or doing things that require a chronograph. I like this one because if I want to use the chrono, it'll time something for 30 minutes. But more importantly, the 6 o'clock subdial gives me the day of the week. And then I've got my date window at the 4 o'clock position. So you get a day and date quartz chronograph movement. For me personally, and perhaps for some of you out there, I need that kind of movement more than I need a movement that would give me 1/100th of a second accuracy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You have to decide what works for you. It appears to be a fixed bezel, right? It's like almost flat against the case, but it's a unidirectional rotating bezel. This watch is all blacked out, but then the bezel insert has a little pop of silver to it. Everything else, though, on this watch, totally blacked out. It's a 47 millimeter case. It's relatively flat, but you do have the curvature at the lugs and the integrated soft touch silicone strap. Silicone straps are super comfortable. Look at how I sized this down to the tightest closure on my 6-inch wrist, and it fits. It goes edge to edge because it's a little bit longer, but look, no gapping, no spacing, super easy to wear. And again, a silicone strap that can accommodate over a 9-inch wrist. You get a 5-year warranty on the movement. You get a 10-year warranty on that Sapphitech crystal. $245,914. Look at the stress-free payments. $14.60. Let's just say $15 a month for this watch. $245,914. The Ocean Abyssos from Swiss Legend. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will round out our show today. Now, we will be back again tomorrow with an all-new lineup. You can see today and tomorrow's lineup posted at WorldofWatches.tv right now. So in case you want to shop ahead of time or if you missed any of the show. We're going to recap for a few minutes. And we're going to start with the best-selling watch of the past 3 hours and trickle down from there. We have no idea. Much like that top 10, we never have any idea where the show is going. So it's always fun for us, too, to see what you guys are buying.
Any guesses?
No, I hope my hot pick is still in there somewhere.
It will be.
Let's see. The #1 selling watch of the show.
They're still calculating. They've got the abacus in there. I'm watching them. I'm literally, there's a window right there. We're watching them add up the watches.
All right, let's see what it is.
What is it?
Ah!
Oh.
My hot pick. You know, everybody
course.
else wins. I don't win on this because you know what? The 42 millimeter Swiss-made Blue Geneve is stunning. You have mother of pearl and ceramic, 200 meters of water resistance in a Swiss-made watch. There are 4 sizes to timepiece, so you do have some options there. 5 payments of $36 gets this beauty home. 287-844.
Actually, it just shows folks have exceptionally good taste. And speaking of good taste, how about the Swiss Legend 46 millimeter Abyssos automatic? Now, this is a serious dive instrument because it has 1,000 meters of water resistance, all within that Swiss-made watch. This is an incredible value because a watch that should be $1,500 is under $280. Unbelievable that $56 gets this watch home. And this is one of both of our favorite variations, is the rose tone case. Now the case is 19 millimeters thick and 46 millimeters wide. But when it sits on the wrist, it is the perfect fit. So this is the watch in the dressier variation that if you needed to go out to dinner, go to the office, and then head down to find the Titanic, you have got the right watch for you. 274-855. Right behind that is the Lucien Piccard 45 millimeter Murano. This is one of the newest variations of watch with that brand new movement in there. And you're going to love how this looks. Now this comes in a couple of different variations, and this gold tone has got to be a big seller. It also comes in a black and silver tone. That is stunning. Both of them are at recordly low prices for new introduced watches. $119.99, only $24 gets it home. Right behind that is one of my favorite watches, and that is the Transocean. Now this 43 millimeter Transocean happens to have 450 parts on the inside of it. It has the B19 movement, which is a 38 jewel automatic, 42 hours of power reserve, all within that 316L stainless steel case, protected by a beautiful sapphire crystal, and an incredible price point, almost half of what you'd normally pay.
Following up right behind that,
Ooh, you know what it is?
Maurice Lacroix. This is the 40 millimeter Pontos automatic GMT. 286-519, not $4,400, but $1,500. 6 payments of $248. It ships after your first payment. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Wiley and I will be back again tomorrow with an all-new lineup.
See you soon.